And welcome back, everyone, to the Pokemon Team Creation Series. From Monkey 2627, we have the question of, what is the Pokemon team of Elsa from Frozen? Look, not to bury the lead, the bulk of this team is just ice types. This is just because this is kind of the main bread and butter of Elsa in many ways. But what is her main Pokemon? What is like her ace, her big Pokemon at the end? All this. What can we fit for themes with her? So, right out the gate, I think starting her off with a Frostlass, particularly Mega Frostlass, makes the most sense. I mean, they're kind of wearing the same outfit. But, no, I mean, while it is based off of Yukione, it is still a feminine ice figure in a kimono dress. So this does make the most sense in my opinion. And I do believe Mega Frostlass does make more sense here. Then we have to have an Olaf Pokemon, right? Now this one you might be a little thinking like, wait, why aren't you going this route? But I went with Galarian Darmanitan. Why? Well, it's a little snowman. It is literally just a little snowman. It's because it's based off the whole, I believe, Darumaka dolls. Now you might be thinking, why not Galarian Darmanitan? That's a snowman kind of gorilla-looking thing, right? Yeah, but here's the thing. Olaf is not like big and burly and menacing and powerful. He's this cute little dude. That's all he is. And he's very adorable and helpful, whatever, when he can be. So yeah, I don't think you would want to go Darmanitan with that. Nor do I think you go with a Snover. The reason I say that is one of the other things that I remember from the movies, her Ice Palace. And those giant snow bodyguards. Well, because she can make those, I thought we should have a mon that represents it on the team. And I think Obama Snow is probably your closest to that. You could have gone Galarian Darmanitan as well, I suppose. But either way, I don't think it changes how well this team does regardless. So really, these two could be interchangeable. You could go Snover for Olaf and then Galarian Darmanitan without Zen mode, mind you, probably with Guerrilla Tactics, to be your ace or your giant monster. Then I knew I wanted some just generic ice or just represent our generic ice abilities, and I did decide to go with Alolan Ninetales. One of these days I got to update that image to not be so damn blurry. Yeah, Alolan Ninetales, and I think that's an appropriate choice. It's very feminine, very elegant, very mysterious. Can also represent her connection to the spirits in the forest in the second movie. And then I also decided to go with, and this goes to the fact that Beartic, as I just spoiled it, is actually very protective of other Pokemon, particularly other Kubfus. So I think that does work in Elsa's favor here. But then the one thing I knew I needed on here was something to represent Anna. Now you can make an argument that the Pokemon I'm about to choose, I should have chosen its other half for this because it is the elder to this Pokemon's junior, and that Elsa is the older sister to Anna's. Well, actually, they're about the same age, aren't they? I think she's the older sister, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, we're trying to look after Anna. I went with Latias. Now, why did I do that? I could have gone Latios. Again, look at the older sibling looking over the younger. But actually, I didn't want that, mostly because, especially in the second movie, she stops looking after Anna. Anna's got to stand on her own. And so I decided to go Latias to represent Anna overall. The fact, along with their connection, their sisterly paternal connection with each other, biological relation with each other, personal connection with each other, all that. Latias is also a very inquisitive and curious Pokemon as well, and a little bit more naive than Latios, which definitely represents Anna to a T. Side note, Anna pissed me the hell off in the second movie. I think I reviewed it when it came out years ago now. But yeah, Anna got on her mind. Anna was fine in the first movie. She's delightfully naive, and oh my god, I was tricked by this man. Sure, okay. But man, did I find her near insufferable in the second movie. And I think the second movie is frankly the better of the two. But man, there are points where I'm just like, Anna, shut up. Like, you are being so self-centered right now. You are being so inconsiderate of everyone else right now. Like, seriously. But I digress. So that's the one outlier on the team that can give this a little edge in certain areas. And what do I mean by that? Well, unfortunately, being so heavily revolving around ice, this team is times 5 weak to fire, rock, steel, but surprisingly not fighting. Now, why not fighting? Well, why didn't I even write fighting on here? I forgot fighting. Great. No, I did not. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Did I wait? No, I did not write it. Okay. And 3 times weak to fighting because the Frostlass is immune to fighting. Latios is resistant, and so is Alolan Ninetales thanks to the Fairy type. It's neutral. So only half the team is weak to fighting. But the steel, rock, and fire typing, oh yeah, they cleave through this team. The only advantage you have against the fire is the fact that Latios does resist. So that's your really only advantage. It's also ×2 weak to dark types, and ×2 weak to bug types, and ×2 weak to poison types, weirdly enough. But where it makes up for that is it's ×6 strength. This is a dragon killing team. Like, any team that's heavy dragon based is dead. This thing will Lance doesn't stand a chance against this team. Or Iris, for that matter. It's also ×5 strength against grass, flying, ground, and a ×2 strength against, weirdly enough, which one was it? Seriously, what was that? What's that F supposed to be? Is it fighting? Yes, fighting, because of your psychic and your fairy typing. Now, the real question here is, how well does this team do? And the question then comes, let me just get her out of the way right now, to the champions you could theoretically actually make it to. There is a whole whopping total of 2. The first one up is blue. You could probably make it to blue. Your first, luckily for you, even though all the rock type gyms are going to be problematic, luckily, Frostlass, Mega Frostlass, is a stone evolution, so you can get Frostlass immediately, and Frostlass will either have something along the realm of Hex or Shadow Sneak or something like that early on to be dealing with those guys. So that's not an issue. Your first big issue really is actually going to come up with Blaine, because again, he's a fire type trainer. This entire team, except for Latios, is weak to fire, and Latios, for all its strength and being legendary, isn't that strong. It might resist fire, but you don't want to keep it out there forever. You do want to maybe try to substitute in when you can. So yeah, if Blaine, problematic. Giovanni, not really. He's mostly a ground trainer. In fact, he's predominantly a ground trainer. So even like Rhyhorn is not going to be that big of an issue. The only Elite Four member that is actually, I was about to say, is only going to give you problems is Agatha, but actually Lorelei is going to give you a lot of problems because water is not affected by ice. She's an ice water specialist, and ice resists ice, but all of her Icemon have double typings. Cloyster's a water type. Jinx is a psychic type. I didn't even stop to think about that, but Lorelei might be where you stop, because I could foresee her really taking your time, going to town on you. And then Agatha's problematic because while you are strong against her poison types, which are all of them, she also has several ghost types, which is technically your specialty, but it's poison, let's be fair. And 2 mon on your team that aren't weak to ghost are weak to poison. So he's got answers for a giant chunk of your team, to be honest. So that's gonna be a tricky fight. But then Lance, you're gonna cleave through it. Honestly, as long as you can deal with the fire type on Blue's team, whichever it is, Arcanine or Charizard, you should be able to beat Blue. You should be able to. But that fire type could mess you up if you're not careful. And then the only other trainer you could actually guaranteed get to, or Elite Four member or a champion, is Diantha, who you probably could beat. Now, granted, pun intended, Grant will be problematic, but Grant's Tyrant is also, powerful, but it's a dragon. So, and rock doesn't actually resist ice. It's strong against it, but doesn't resist it. So might be problematic, especially if you're getting her Aurorus out or Aurorus. That could be a little problematic to be sure, but I think you'd be okay. Same with Hawlucha and Karina, because of the ghost typing, you're pretty much immune to anything she throws at you. And then really the only other trainers you will have a somewhat of a problem with are, I believe, Flava, the fire type Elite Four member, and Wingstrom, the steel type Elite Four member, because you had no good answer for steel. And that one could really become problematic. But with that said, if you get to Diantha, could you beat her? Yeah, probably could. Ironically, though, this is the first time probably ever that Aurora, maybe not the first time, but one of the rare times that Aurorus actually kind of comes in clutch against your team, because it's an ice rock type. It's got rock moves. It can probably take down the bulk of your team if you're not careful, because you don't have any firm answer for it. I don't believe I don't believe ice. I believe ice resists grass, so even like a grass type move from Abomasnow, from Abomasnow is going to kind of be neutral. Now, granted, Goodra, Gourgeist, they're all weak to ice. Gardevoir is going to be a little tricky. Like, it could take down the Latias, no problem. And it has Shadow Ball, so even your Mega Gardevoir or Mega Frostlass is arguably not as good anymore. And it added a bunch of bulk, too, to be able to take hits. So I'm going to say it's a strong maybe you could beat her. After that, though, the real answer is you could not get to the Elite Four in any other way, save maybe in Johto. That is the only, actually, even in the Johto, that's debatable. In Johto, you're going to have a real big problem with Whitney, because even though you have Frostlass, it's not going to have the best of stats. Yeah, its special attack will be good. It's going to have speed Milk Tank, but Milk Tank can get a rollout out and just take these things down quick. But hypothetically, let's say you could get past them. You would then have a little Ninetales and luckily be able to deal with a Chuck. But then you're going to run into a problem between Jasmine and Price. Not because they're ultimately very strong, per se, but their typings just really screw you over. You have no answer, again, for Steel. Even with Latias on the team, you don't have an answer for it, so you're just going to have to pray. And you have no good answer for Ice. So you're going to have struggle there as well. Not to mention the fact that while the Elite Four isn't going to be exceptionally tough, I think Koga will be your most difficult challenge, because once again, you have no real type strength against them, save for the Latias' psychic abilities. And even then, you got to be careful, because he can just Fortress alone is going to resist that thing. And then, of course, if you can get the Karen's hit or miss, although Karen, now I say that, does have Houndoom. A dark fire type is arguably the worst thing this team could go up against. The only thing you have that you could do anything is the Alolan Ninetales with a fairy move. That's about it. Otherwise, you're going to, and then of course you still got to deal with Umbreon, who is tanky. You got to deal with these are Gengar, who's still going to be problematic. Karen actually would be a problem as well. Lance, ironically, as long as you get past the Aerodactyl and the Charizard, which you can still just Ice Beam the Aerodactyl, you can get past the Charizard, that one's going to be problematic. Still, you could probably take him down. But it still depends if you can get past Whitney. Yeah, so, yes, if you can get to him, yes. Otherwise, though, now it's a firm no all around. Well, maybe that's not true. You hypothetically could, maybe, possibly get all the way to the Championship Unova. But that's a lot of luck. In Black and White 1, Lenora's Watchog will cleave through that Frostlass. Even with Mega Evolution. Because even with an Ice attack, no guarantee you one-shot that thing, and a crunch from that thing is going to destroy Frostlass. And then Darmok is screwed. So you might just stop right there. But, in the event that you get past it, Sharon also might be a little problematic because he's immune to Ghost-type moves. And he should have Bite on at least one of his Mon. But then Berg, no type specific advantages, so you are going to struggle. After that, though, you'd have an alright run. Then Marshall, the fighting type Elite Four member, you frankly might be able to take a large chunk of this team down as a giant chunk of his mod. Also have Sucker Punch on him. But if you could get past that, what about Iris or Alder? Well, Iris, I already said you could probably clean through her team, to be frank. The Aggron is the only one on the team I can honestly think would be a problem. And honestly, that Aggron that I say about would be a real problem. Because unlike other times where you just a fighting type move can quad destroy it, you don't have that here. And he actually resists nearly everything you're going to throw at him. So that Aggron could be a real big problem. You'd probably want to throw Latias on it and just throw special moves at it. And then they're still dealing with the Lapras, who would resist ice, grass type moves, and the Archeops, but then that one can be taken down. So look, Lapras and Aggron are going to be your big, they're your big problems for beating Iris. But I think you can beat her and probably would. Alder sadly is a no-go. Right out the gate, as Selgor, even with the enhanced stats, and I believe the speed gets bumped to like 120 for Frostlass. Even with those stats, it still outspeeds you. So you're going to get the first hit in on Mega Frostlass. It's not type effective. Like, you have no advantage with Bug at all. And half his team are bugs. One of them is the goddamn Excavalier, which is going to be resistant to everything but fire, which you do not have. And that thing is going to wreck shop on a giant chunk of this team. Even if you take it down and manage to somehow have, say, Ninetales, Frostlass, or Latias, you then got to deal with the Volcarona, which you're done. At that point, you're done. Because, and that's going through everything else, assuming you have anything left. Because one Quiver Dance and you're screwed. A Bug Buzz will take down a Latias, no problem, and an Overheat takes down anything else on the team. So Alder is a no. Then Hoenn, I think the problem in all the other regions is you stop at the Fire Gym. That's the biggest problem in all the other regions. In Hoenn, you stop at Flannery. Now you might be saying, well, wait, I got Mega Frostlass. That should be able to do it with a Ghost type move, right? Torkoal's tanky. Torkoal's actually very tanky. And if it's Emerald, she got Camerupt. So even if it's neutral, it doesn't matter. She's taking your team down. There's no getting around it. Even if he could get all the way to Steven, his team this is not a team designed to take Steven's team on in the least. Steel and Rock with maybe one ground that you could Ice Beam away. Oh, no. That you're getting screwed. In Sinnoh, you're going to just stop at Maylene. Her Lucario does have steel moves. I mean, it can hit the Frostlass. And at that point, you only have a Snover, Darumaka, and a Frostlass, which is only going to do so much. And even if you say make Maylene the 5th gym leader, like I believe she's the 5th gym leader in Platinum. That's even worse. She has a stronger team. And while you have a fairy type move, Lucario is going to be neutral to that and still be able to dish out steel type moves. Not to mention all the other mon that are going to be on the team that are going to be able to do things to you. So, yeah, and even if you could get to Cynthia, I don't think you'd beat Cynthia. Right at the gate, you would have to switch into Ninetales if they were the Spirit Tomb, which means it's a free shot on the Spirit Tomb. For the Spirit Tomb, I should say. Then you're going to have to deal with, and then if you can't take it down in one hit, which you probably could, but if you can't, you're going to get another hit. Then comes out the Roserade. That one you can just get rid of. But then comes the Gastrodon. Probably can survive a hit. Water, I believe, does in fact resist ice, which is weird. It's not strong against ice, but it does resist it. So, and then Milotic, both of them are going to start wreaking some havoc on these teams. You might want, even if you switch in to Abomasnow, Gastrodon's going to probably Earthquake, do some damage. Then Milotic's going to come in, do more damage. And then Lucario comes in and wrecks a lot of shop. And then at that point, you're either out of ice types or you got one ice type left. And Garchomp is quad weak to ice, yes. But this is all contingent of you can take it down. That's all. Like, if all your ice types are gone at that point, Latias versus Garchomp. I'm sorry, I'm taking Garchomp in that fight. If you've got one ice type left, it's possible. But if it's not if it's not Frostlass, everything else is getting outsped by Garchomp. So, at your own risk. I would say it's a hard maybe and not in your favor. Then in we already Kalos, Galar and Paldea. You arguably could get Tagita and Paldea. Poppy, quite frankly, is your biggest hurdle due to the steel typing, and again, no advantages against steel. And if I actually look at her, I know she's got Copper Raja, which, and let me just look at her team real quick. A lot of her mon are slow, but let me look at the gym leaders real quick again. Scarlet and Violet, gym leaders. Let's see here. Oh, I want the Elite Four, not the gym leaders. Whoops. Not the gym leaders. Elite Four. Okay, Elite Four. There we go. Let's see. Poppy. Poppy's team consists of a Copper Raja, which has high horsepower, ground type move, won't be that big of an issue. Play rough, fairy type move, won't be that big of an issue. Heavy slam, problematic, and setting up stealth rocks, also very problematic. She's got a Magnezone with discharge. You're not really weak to electricity, so it's not that big of an issue, but still. Flash cannon, problematic. Light screen, problem, and tri attack. Okay. Then there's the levitate, which doesn't matter here. It also has sturdy, so you can't. And Copper Raja has sheer force too. God damn it. You rock blast with the Bronzong, Zen Head, but Iron Head. Oof. Brave Bird. Oh man, Brave Bird, Iron Head, body versus iron defense with pressure from the Corviknight, and then Tinkaton comes in with Stone Edge, Brick Break, Tinkaton Hammer, and Play Rough. Yeah, I'm calling it. You ain't getting past Poppy. You ain't getting past that little girl. So yeah, you oh god, I hate when this happens so much. Okay, there we go. Yeah, you ain't getting past Poppy. But if you could get to Gita, would you win? Well, with Gita, the first two are no problem because Frostlass Ghost typing would take them down. Go-Go, no problem. But King Gambit, the only thing you have that's even neutral to King Gambit, or to deal with King Gambit, is Ninetales, and that's neutral. Otherwise, that thing may wreck your entire shop. Literally. That King Gambit could wreck your entire career. And then for a change, you don't have a good answer for the Avalon, because the Avalon usually can go down pretty easy to fighting or fire type moves, but you don't have an answer for that, and that thing's got a huge amount of bulk. So, yeah, and then Glamora turns into a pure rock. Now, if Abomastone's still around for that, you have an out. If not, you might be in trouble. So I don't. If you can deal with the King Gambit, you stand a shot. But that King Gambit's going to come out, and it's not going to be pleasant. I'm going to say no, personally. And then Galar, frankly, I don't think you get past the third gym, because that's a fire gym, and it's got a fire bug type, which you don't have a good answer for. So, yeah, that Centiskorch hits hard, man. I love Centiskorch. But, yeah, you're not in a good shape in Galar after that. Even if you could get the Leon, ironically, even with the buff, the Dragapult still outspeeds. And it has both Shadow Ball, and the Aegislash is going down, that I don't have an issue with. You might get one hit off before going down, but yeah. Mega Frostlass can take it down. No. The issue is, once again, Dragapult. Now, assuming you believe it's going to go for the Flamethrower, you could sub out for the Latias. The problem is it also has Shadow Ball. And that means it's going to take the Latias out, because Latias is still going to take a hit. And then it's just going to Flamethrower this entire team. It's going to burn this team to the ground. So unfortunately, no. You couldn't become champion in Galar either. But in the end, it didn't even matter. This is just my opinion. Let me know what you think. What would you do for Elsa's team? Do you agree with my choices, or would you do something different? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see ya for the next one. Later.